That's a man.
Peyton Manning stepping out.
It's the Zion Show.
Pass is caught by Jones.
Chief Osceola aboard Renegade, plants the spear at midfield. You see the Clemson players challenging that tradition. Bobby Bowden watching his Florida State Seminoles prepare for this afternoon's game. Florida State, that's Derrick Brooks that we'll talk about an awful lot. And Brenson Buckner the other way for Clemson. These two defenses will figure big. That's Andre Humphrey. And we saw Scott Bentley a moment ago. Saw the series record, and we are underway. Resplendent sunshine, temperature in the low 80s, and a wind that'll blow across the field from left to right, across your television set. We're glad you joined us for the XUMO ACC Game of the Week. Humphrey at the 6. Humphrey straight ahead to the 23-yard line. The tackle made by Samuel Cowart for Clemson. Patrick Sapp at quarterback, and Emery Smith with pretty good lineage at tail for fullback.
Younger brother of Emmitt Smith. The key will be this offensive line led by All-American right guard Stacy Seegers and tackle Brent Lejeune. Clemson has to do a good job of being north and south with the football. And as I see down on the Florida State 35-yard line, a flag has been thrown. Apparently the Seminoles were offsides on the opening kickoff, and Clemson is going to make them kick it again. One of the concerns expressed by the Florida State coaching staff this week, they did not believe they had good kick coverage in their first two victories against Kansas and Duke. They wanted to improve upon that today. Sometimes when you pound that message across, the kids on the kick coverage get a little overexcited, and this time they jumped off sides.
And you add also to that, Jack, that this is their home opener in basically new digs here at Doak Campbell Stadium. They've increased the capacity by 12,000 to 72,589. It'll go up even further next year to about 74,000. So, understandably, the first game jitters at home. They've played twice on the road. The Meadowlands, the kickoff classic against Kansas, and then last week in the rain at Durham against Duke, both victories. Clemson opened at home against UNLV. Bentley will do this all over again, this time from his 30-yard line, and Humphrey will wait for the kick back at his 10. This one drives Humphrey even deeper to the 3. And he is out to about the same yardage point. Cowart with the tackle once again to the 24, a 21-yard return. Here's the defensive line for the Seminoles.
They're going to be much smaller, but they will key on youngsters like Tyrant Marion and senior Derrick Alexander to put pressure on. Kenny Alexander and Derrick Brooks, two of the best linebackers in the country. A young secondary because of injuries for the most part. Corey Sawyer, 8 career interceptions at cornerback.
Patrick Sapp brings them out, 1st and 10 at the 24. 3 wide receivers for Clemson: Davis, Smith, and Hinton. Play action to Blunt. Here's Sapp, first play, downfield, had him in. Sawyer and Smith in their first battle of the day, the first of what likely will be many.
Terry Smith trying to adjust to that football, I think thought it was going to be a little shorter than it turned out to be. Had Smith kept running, he might have gotten to that football, but both he and Sawyer anticipated that ball being a little underthrown. They banged into each other, both sides pointing fingers the other way, but a good no call.
2nd down coming up. Hinton again split wide, same formation for Clemson, although this time they're offset in the backfield. Rodney Blunt straight ahead over the 25, gets out to about the 26 or 27-yard line.
Good penetration by the nose man, John Nance, to disrupt the play. He won't get credit for any of the tackles, but he really changed the course that Blunt wanted to run. The one danger of that long bomb, you hate being against Florida State in 3rd and long, but that's what Clemson's got right there. You see Rebold came up and made the stop, but it was Nance who disrupted the play.
3rd and 8. No score, first possession of the game. Sapp, 3-man rush, pass complete to Terry Smith at the 43-yard line. First down for the Clemson Tigers.
Terry Smith just a couple of yards away now from 2,000 yards in his career receiving. This is just a deep square in pattern. Good job by the underneath receiver. You see that receiver running by Jason Davis, cleared out the underneath coverage, and when Smith cut across the field, there was nothing Clifton Abraham could do.
He needs 16 yards for that 2,000 plateau you mentioned, Jack. Mix up at the line of scrimmage. Emery Smith taking the late handoff from Sapp is going to be thrown for a loss. Ever-present Derrick Alexander out of Jacksonville, Florida, the sophomore at 6'5", 260, making the stop.
Well, Derrick Alexander, high school teammate of Patrick Sapp's, and they will, I'm sure, renew acquaintances throughout the ball game as well as after the game. There are a lot of Florida guys on the Clemson team, and there's a number of Palmetto State boys playing for Florida State.
Second down coming, about 11. Sapp. Wobbly ball right into the face mask of Jason Davis.
Mac Knight came over, and he had a great path to the interception for Florida State. And he let the ball go right through him. And Jason Davis, the most surprised guy here at Doak Campbell. Watch this. Knight right through his hands, and it hits Davis right in the face. Always tell your receivers, have the hands up and ready. You never know.
This is the second, third, and long now for Clemson. First time they were in this situation, they converted to Smith for 12. They need 11 this time out.
They get Davis and Smith to Sapp's right again. We might see a similar third down play.
Hittens to the short side of the field. Blitz by Florida State. Sapp picks it up. His hot receiver's Hinton, and he overthrows it. Threw it away. Abraham in good coverage, and Clemson will have to punt it away.
Good recognition by Patrick Sapp of the blitz from Florida State, but as Mickey Andrews, the Seminoles defensive coordinator, told me, we're not afraid to blitz because we can cover people man to man. They demonstrated it right there.
They sent 6 that time. Nelson Welch on to kick. There you see what he's done in his career this season, 36 yards and 5 punts. Corey Sawyer back to return, one of the top punt return men in the country. Big rush on. Sawyer will return at the 20. Turns the corner. And is finally brought down at the 35-yard line. A 14-yard return after Welch's 37-yard kick. Ed Hoskin is the man who came in with the tackle, but 15 yards a take on every punt is excellent yardage for Corey Sawyer. We have a flag, however, back at the 20-yard line.
Block below the waist on the receiving team on the run back. Half the distance to the goal.
Courtney Maze with the call. Bobby Bowden not happy. And this will be marked off now half the distance to the goal line, and Florida State will be backed up.
Well, again, the problems that the Seminoles talked about this week with us, that they are struggling with their kicking game.
12:38 left to go here in the first quarter. Florida State getting set to see the football for the first time. No score. 12:38 left to go. They're in their own 9-yard line after the penalty on the kickoff return. Charlie Ward brings them out. A fast break offense. He's in the shotgun. Now he'll step up. Carlos Curry jumps across and makes contact with center Clay Shiver.
Encroachment on the defense. 5 yards. Still first down.
Let's take a look at the Florida State offense here while they set up for this play once again. Charlie Ward at the helm.
William Floyd is their catalyst. He's their emotional leader. A great group of receivers, both wide and tight. Outstanding offensive line that is still very young. Shiver in particular at center is a good one.
A lot of them played as true freshmen. On 1st and 5, here's Ward to the flats. It is incomplete, and it's intended out there for Tamarick Vanover. Clemson's defensive unit has some adjustments across the front line.
Brenson Buckner back into the lineup after his 1-game suspension. Curry gets the start at nose guard to get a little bigger on that defensive front. Good linebackers headed up by Tim Jones, and a good but very young secondary.
And small at the corners, too. 5'7" and 5'8". Second down and 5. That's an adjustment. Ward with play action. Screen set up to Floyd. Floyd has some room and the first down. Burnett with the tackle. Well, Bobby Bowden says they see a secondary that may be a little bit small, and they know they're going to go for that weakness this afternoon. And at any time. 1st and 10, Florida State. Ward back to throw. It is complete. This one's to Kevin Knox at the 36-yard line. Dixon at 5'7" makes the tackle.
When they go into their fast break spread offense with people like Knox and Fryer and McCorvey and even Vanover for that matter, all pretty good size guys, all receivers with the ability to catch the ball in the middle of the field.
Florida State going without a huddle into the shotgun with Charlie Ward. Ward throws to Matt Fryer in the flats, complete. And he is knocked out at the 47-yard line. It's going to be close to a first down. Andre Carter, a redshirt freshman out of Camden, South Carolina, makes the stop.
Well, you put an awful lot of pressure on the underneath coverage. You see the Darnell Stevens, the linebacker, dropping off. He has to worry about Knox curling on the inside. They run Fryer on a little turnout to the outside, and he moves up the field and picks up the Seminole first down.
Fryer last season missed half the year because of a separated shoulder. He's back, fifth-year senior for a wide open floor. Snap goes over Charlie Ward's head, but this is where he's most dangerous. Here's Jackson, and Clemson responds. Andre Humphrey and Burnett, Derrick Burnett, making the stop of Jackson. It's a loss on the play of 7 yards back to the 40-yard line.
But it could have been a loss of about 17 yards. Charlie Ward with that uncanny ability to get away from trouble as Clay Shiver's snap went over the head of Ward. He would have been dropped back at the 30-yard line by Brenson Buckner, but somehow he got out of the tackle and found Jackson to get some of the yardage back.
Clemson diagnoses it. Takes advantage of the opportunity on 2nd and 17. Here's Jackson, and Clemson closes down quickly. Burnett and Jones come in with a nice stop. Also, Brenson Buckner getting up from the pile as Jackson was stopped as he got to the 43. Florida State looking at a 3rd and 13. Ward to throw. Over the middle, it is complete. Kez McCorvey in Clemson territory. Humphrey is there to stop him at the 19-yard line of Clemson.
When Bobby Bowden and his offensive coaches put in this offense last year, they were using tight ends and William Floyd as the inside receiver. Now you get Kez McCorvey. McCorvey runs about a 4.5, 4.6 40 and can do things after he catches the football. A little play becomes a big play.
Of about 38 yards to the 19-yard line of Clemson. 1st and 10, Florida State. Ward to the flats. It's Jackson. Jackson has another first down inside the 10 at the 8-yard line. Driven out of bounds over there by Dixon. And another outstanding defensive back, albeit young, Brian Dawkins. Now, we talked about the youth in that secondary, but make no mistake about it, Clemson has a lot of faith in those young defensive backs.
But they've got to get more pressure from the people up front. Not an easy task. They did not have a sack last week against Nevada, Las Vegas.
They've moved this football from their own 9-yard line, and they are at the Clemson 7. 1st and goal, actually at the 8. Tamarick Vanover. He dropped the ball, but it was blown dead. It looks like they're going to mark him down at the 3-yard line. Tim Jones makes the tackle in the middle.
It's a nice little concept. They run Sean Jackson in motion, taking a inside linebacker away from the defense. It leaves all the space for Vanover on the quick slant. Pretty good pop on it.
4 wide receivers, the standard set. McCorvey and Vanover to the bottom side. Knox and Fryer to the top. Ward with time to Jackson. Touchdown easily.
You take the 2 outside receivers, run them to the inside, create traffic. If the inside linebacker doesn't get out on the tailback swinging out into the flat. It's a stroll to 6, and that's what it was for Sean Jackson.
And here comes Scott Bentley. Off for the point after, out of the hold of reserve quarterback Danny Cannell. Andy Kroll with the snap. There's the kick, and it is good. Scott Bentley getting set to kick it away. 7-0. Florida State on top. We're in the first quarter here in Tallahassee. Humphrey finally underneath it at the 15. Humphrey looking for a way out. Matt Fryer, who also plays on the special teams, wraps him up at the 26-yard line. And that's where Clemson will start 1st and 10.
Two of the injured Seminole players, Corey Fuller and Steve Gilmer, were outstanding special team guys. As you look at the scoring drive for Florida State, it has forced Bobby Bowden to play people like Fryer on kick coverage to get the speed that he needs.
Although Florida State has lost 3 starters to injury, it seems that everybody still considers, and with good reason, that they are the program to beat in this country this year. Emery Smith gets very little at the heart of that Florida State defense. Not much there. Good penetration by Derrick Alexander. And that's one fear that I think Florida State had all day, is that Clemson would try to run behind Seegers and Lejeune.
Well, that's what their game plan has to be a little bit, to try and be north-south, because they have the big size advantage on the front line. But the quickness edge belongs to Florida State. Not only do you get Derrick Alexander on the line of scrimmage, but Kenny Alexander, 36, also filled in a hurry from his linebacking spot.
2nd and 10. Sapp out to throw. As Smith, great catch by Smith at the 36-yard line. He's going to be just shy of a 1st down.
Patrick Sapp has had some space on the rollout, and I wouldn't be surprised, Steve, to see Clemson, as this game evolves, tell Patrick once in a while to put that ball down and run for yardage. Granted, that great pursuit ability of Florida State is a factor, but he has been able to turn the corner.
He's got size, sophomore, 6'4", 225. Here's Blunt. And Blunt gets surprised as he looked to be getting close to a 1st down. The tackle made by Ken Alexander. And it's going to be close enough, I believe, to measure.
Ken Alexander's philosophy is to run through everything, find the football later. That was a perfect example.
And Blunt was the most surprised guy on the field. Now, Rodney Blunt has some yardage to get to the 2,000-yard plateau. 117 he needs today. He obviously didn't get all of that in that particular carry, but it looks like he's going to get a 1st down for Clemson.
Well, the important thing for the Tigers here early in this game is to build some confidence in themselves offensively, because they started slowly last week against Vegas, and quite frankly, to run some time off the clock. You know Florida State's offense is going to score. You just want to limit the number of times they have that opportunity.
1st and 10 for the Tigers. They're at their own 37-yard line. Blunt and Smith's the setback. Sapp pulled away too early and loses 3 back to the 33-yard line.
Well, you've heard of Canadian rules football. This is Lithuanian rules football. I mean, you can run 5 guys in motion at the same time. They had people going every which way.
A dead ball, false start on the offense, 5 yards, still 1st down.
Blunt and Smith weren't sure where to go. Bryce Nelson never snapped the ball to Patrick Sapp. Terry Smith, trying to get an advantage downfield, was about 5 yards into the Florida State secondary. All in all, they were not where they wanted to be.
So it'll be 1st and 15.
Again, not where you want to be.
No, and he's been in that a lot. He's responded, though, 2 out of 3 times that they've been in obvious pass situations. Patrick Sapp is converted. They face a blitz here, and his receiver is Smith. Complete. And Smith has the 1st down out near midfield. Alexander is there on the stop, along with also Alonzo Horner, the senior safety.
He joined some great receivers in Tuttle and Butler in passing the 2,000-yard mark in Tiger history receiving. Terry almost got guilty of that cardinal sin of a receiver running before you've got possession of the football, but he was able to hang with it.
He now has 2001 after that 17-yard catch. 1st and 10 Clemson. And Patrick Sapp doesn't like what he sees. Florida State with 7 men in the box, Jack, at 6:30 left to go here in this first quarter. Florida State set up hard to defend the run and force Patrick Sapp to throw the football.
He also glanced up and saw he was down to just a couple of seconds on the huddle clock. There you see where Terry Smith lines up now behind Perry Tuttle and Jerry Butler. Terry, of course, with, well, 3/4 plus of this game to go and 9 more after the game this afternoon. Young man who grew up right in Clemson and was the South Carolina Player of the Year his senior year in high school. He was part of the cleanup crew at Tiger home games, and he has grown up to fulfill a dream for himself to be a Tiger football player and one of the very good ones in Clemson history.
12 career touchdown passes that he has caught in Clemson uniform. A 5th-year senior. As Jack said, out of Clemson, went to Daniel High School. Elsewhere around the country, Notre Dame leading Michigan in the first. And of course, for the scores anytime, the latest scores at just the games you want. Call the Jefferson Pilot scoreline at 1-900-267-5757. Calls $1 a minute, and kids, please get mom and dad's permission.
Kenny Hatfield has to be happy with what Patrick Sapp has done so far. He's really thrown into coverage only once. He has hung in there against the pressure of the Florida State front 7.
1st and 10. At his own 49-yard line. Blitz is on, and he gets rid of it in time. The question is, did Davis catch it? And it is a resounding yes at the 33-yard line.
Well, Patrick Sapp saw not 7 men in the box, and by the box we mean right on the line of scrimmage. They had 8 men in the box. Pouring through was Todrick McIntosh. He was able to slip around him, let the ball go before he was crushed. And Davis came up with a catch, and Clemson's on the roll.
Nearly 20 yards down to the 33-yard line. So Patrick Sapp has executed this afternoon. And off to Blunt. A little bit of room, but Nance is there to wrap him up. And let's go to the sidelines and Mike Hogwood.
Well, Steve, yesterday when I was talking with Corey Sawyer, he says, you know, we substitute a lot on this defense, and everybody gets to play except at cornerbacks. We've got freshmen backing up both corners with Sawyer and Abraham there now as the regulars and the veterans, so they're not going to get much relief today. And you got to wonder, maybe if they were taking a little easy in the first quarter, they're certainly not now, as Sapp completing some passes and moving this team down the field.
He's facing a 2nd and 7, Mike, this time around, and there's Clifton Abraham. 2nd down 7 for Clemson. Sapp tries to run the option. The play didn't look good from the start, and Florida State appeared to get there before Clemson's blockers were able to set up. Alonzo Horner in on the tackle, as well as Todrick McIntosh.
Well, like so many teams that rely on quickness, you get your down linemen to contain the offensive linemen, and you get your linebackers up quickly to finish the job off. You saw Horner number 40 in there, but credit the end as well. Derrick Alexander with another good play.
Brings up 3rd and 9. Sapp back to throw, steps out of pressure. Patrick Sapp loses the football. It's picked up by Florida State. Corey Sawyer looks to pick up the loose football.
Trying to get that last little bit of yardage to get the first down. Sapp lost the football, and it was Derrick Brooks who finally came away with it.
Brooks recovers it. Florida State takes over at the 26-yard line. Here's Patrick Sapp again. Sawyer with the tackle, and Brooks will pick up what's left. 7-0 Florida State with 4:31 left in the first. 4:31 left to go in the first quarter of action from Tallahassee, and our Exxon ACC Game of the Week, Ken Hatfield, having seen his team turn the ball over in Florida State territory. Danny Cannell comes into the ball game at quarterback, and this is a common practice for Florida State. They'll bring in their second unit at the start or close to the start of the second quarter, and Leading that charge, Marquette Smith out over the 30-yard line. And he's brought down by Andre Humphreys, also Darnell Stevens.
Ran one play with that group, and now the first unit goes back out there. They've already got a play called, so they can go right from the line of scrimmage.
That's right. That's the fast break offense. Out of the shotgun. Ward looking at 2nd and 6. Ward being chased. Ward, at his most dangerous, has a first down and wisely said this is enough. Dixon chases him out at the 39.
He's remarkable. He has the elusiveness of a running back, the vision of a running back, and then the passing skills and the leadership qualities of a great quarterback. Senses the pressure, steps around, and now watch the little juke right there as he just left Derrick Burnett in his tracks.
1st and 10, Seminoles. Jackson with the ball. A flag coming up. Could be against Florida State as Jackson gets out to the 45-yard line. Humphrey and Dawkins on the tackle. However, Pierre Wilson was blocked from the back.
Pushing the back on the offense. 10 yards, spot of the foul. Still first down.
It'll be an interesting penalty call as you'll see the push right there by the wide receiver, Kes McCorvey. And that enabled Jackson to move upfield. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. The foul was actually past the initial spot of the play, so it sets up like a 1st and 16.
Takes them back to the 33-yard line. And that's exactly what it is, Jack. 1st and we counted 16. Ward out of the shotgun. Clemson to the rush on. McCorvey beats one man and then gets himself out to the 42, maybe the 43-yard line. A gain of 10 on the play leaves him 6 shy of the first down. Tim Jones recovered to make the tackle.
They blitz a linebacker and McCorvey reads it. See the linebacker coming on the play. So McCorvey runs the quick slant to the area where the linebacker disappeared. Then with the quick turnaround 180 left Darnell Stevens going the other way.
Oh yeah, he planted Dawkins there too. 2nd down. About 7. Ward to throw. Had McCorvey but overthrew him.
Playing against McCorvey a lot of times, but he's a 235-pound former safety, now outside linebacker. And as quick as Darnell is, he is not as quick as Kes McCorvey. And you can see right away that Charlie Ward is trying to take advantage of that mismatch.
It's only the 2nd incompletion of the day for Charlie Ward, who was 8 for 9 in the first drive. 3rd down coming in 6. Florida State up 7-0. Ward gets out of the grasp, and he'll be on the run. Ward, big yardage into Clemson territory at the 30-yard line. Dawkins and Burnett bring him down. Another flag on the play.
Might have another illegal block against Florida State. And I tell you what, if it's a 15-yarder, it negates the first down. Set up about a 3rd and 1.
If it's a 10-yarder, though, let's see what happens as the officials discuss it.
Well, disregard the flag. Disregard the flag. First down.
And the home crowd gladly obliges. Courtney Mose, Bobby Bowden sends in the play, and the Florida State's in business at the Clemson 30-yard line.
Charlie had not actually run for that much yardage so far this year. Only 41 yards rushing coming into the game. 36 already on 2 nifty runs here.
Fryer and Knox to the bottom. The wide side of the field belong to McCorvey and Vanover. Ward, the handoff to Jackson on the draw. Diagnosed perfectly by Clemson. Big, big play by Wardell Rouse, the junior from Clewiston, Florida.
Want to hear a how do you do? Watch this. Boom. Boy, I wish we had ground level sound for that one. Caught him square between the numbers.
I felt it.
Well, you feel all those things.
I'm so sensitive. 1:55 left to go in the first quarter. Here's Ward. Ward has time, and that's dangerous. This time, though, he couldn't find Vanover. Dawkins, Burnett, and also Dixon covering on the play for Clemson. And that'll bring up 3rd down as we wind down time here in the first quarter of play.
Clemson has stepped up the pressure on Charlie Ward. The problem is just pressure alone is not enough against this guy. Not only do you got to contain him, you've got to be able to tackle him. And as Charlie has demonstrated already on several occasions, he can beat you so many different ways.
ACC Player of the Year last year. Athlete of the Year as well for his exploits in football and basketball. Ward on 3rd down, up 7-0. Downfield, incomplete, intended for the wide open William Floyd. Falls incomplete, and now it's decision time for Florida State. They send the kicker on, and Bentley will kick from the 35. It'll be a 45-yard field goal.
This is a rarity right here. It wasn't a great ball by Charlie Ward, but you won't see William Floyd drop too many wide open passes.
This is a 47-yarder for Bentley, who thus far this year, 2 for 3 on field goals, his longest is 26. Out of the hold of Cannell. It is there. And that means more than you know here in Tallahassee. Scott Bentley. The field goal from 47 yards puts Florida State up.
The significance of a good field goal kicker is so important down here in Tallahassee because of what has happened with their kicking game over the last couple of years.
Let's go to the sidelines and Mike Hogwood.
Steve, you got to go back to the first kickoff of the ball game when the penalty, and then from the 30-yard line, Bentley knocked the kickoff all the way to the goal line. I happened to be standing by Bobby Bowden when that happened, and when Bentley ran off the field, Bowden put his arms around the freshman and he hugged him and he says, "Now you can relax. That was a great kick. You got that one going. Now relax." And he was certainly relaxed on that 47-yarder.
I'll say, Mr. Relaxation. Scott Bentley for the field goal, and we're ready to go again. Clemson putting Greg Hood back. Hood at the 8-yard line. Hood tackled by Crockett at the 40, actually that's Henry Crockett, the inside linebacker at the 22-yard line. Henry Crockett with the tackle. And that's where Clemson will start, and that's pretty much been the average starter possession for them. The 24, the 26, and now their own 22.
Clemson has to figure out a way to get a little bit more of a running game going, or it's going to be pressure, and more pressure on that man, Patrick Sapp.
He's responded for the most part pretty well. And off to Blunt. They run right behind Lejeune and Seegers. And it is going to be a gain out to the 26-yard line, a 4-yard pickup. Ken Alexander in on the tackle now for Florida State.
Stacy Seegers, all 330 pounds of him, a second-team All-American a year ago. People consider him one of the best offensive linemen in the country this year. His 3rd year as a starter. He was all-conference a season ago.
This spring practice with an appendectomy. 2nd down and about 5. Comes a handoff, a quick opener to the fullback, Emery Smith, and Smith gets up over the 35-yard line after about the 37. Mac Knight on the tackle. It's a gain of 11 on the play, and the most successful running play from scrimmage this afternoon for the Tigers.
When you have a big offensive line like the Tigers do, you want to try and get north-south against a smaller but quicker team. By north-south, we mean straight ahead, the shortest distance between 2 points, and 2 good running plays in a row there for Clemson.
Time winding down, final 30 seconds of the first quarter. 10-0, Florida State leading. Patrick Sapp changing up on the line. Late snap, big rush is on, and he got decked. Thrown in the direction of Terry Smith. Derrick Brooks was there as soon as the ball got to Sapp.
Derrick Brooks was there. Todd Reboll was there. Derrick Brooks should almost be illegal. You shouldn't be a linebacker this fast. Look at him come through. And Sapp, recognizing that the blitz was coming, tried to check off into a short play, But Brooks, the high school defensive player of the year a couple of years ago out of Pensacola, was just too fast for even that play.
The incompletion stops the clock with 18 seconds left in the period. Second down and 10. Big rush on again, this time from the safeties. The pass for Davis is incomplete. They had Knight blitzing on the play. They had all kinds of people coming in there. Richard Coase is back there to defend, this fifth-year senior out of Miami. As you look at Patrick Sapp facing 3rd and 10 with 13 seconds to go in the quarter.
You have giant tackles in Lejeune and number 72 there, Robert Jackson. But they're just too many bodies with too much speed to their outsides to be able to handle that.
3rd down and 10. Smith is wide to the top side. Here's Sapp to throw. There's the pass. It is incomplete. It's intended.
Flag on the play.
Pass intended for Antoine Wyatt. Let's see what the call is going to be. The flag on the near sideline.
Offsides on the defense. 5 yards. 3rd down.
So it's 3rd and 5 instead of 3rd and 10, and with 9 seconds left to go.
Yeah, you get all that pressure on those young men, get exuberant, and they want to get there as quickly as they can, and somebody must have stuck a foot or a hand or a head in the neutral zone and got caught.
The wind has changed around a little bit here, Jack. It was out of the northwest originally. Now it's blowing right out of the southeast, it seems, and that means it's blowing in the face of Patrick Sapp, at least for the next 9 seconds.
Down to 6 seconds on the huddle clock.
3rd down coming. 1 second. They just got that play off. Here's Sapp to throw against the blitz. Abraham intercepted, or did they not? No, they didn't. The flag was shielded from us, but it's delay of game against Clemson, so the offsides is
Dead ball. Delay of the game on the offense. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
So Clemson just mailed the offsides penalty back in.
Yeah, but the difference is they get one more play to try and keep possession of the football instead of punting it away.
Penalties against both teams. Florida State has 4 already today. And this is Clemson's 3rd. They're going to crank 9 seconds on the game clock now. They have 4 at the moment. So 9 seconds remain as we come back in on 3rd down and 10. Ball is at the 37, or actually, yes, the 38-yard line. Florida State leading Clemson 10-0. Sapp with a rush on. The swing pass to Blunt, and it's diagnosed by Derrick Brooks for a loss of 5 to the 33.
He's remarkable. Just such explosive speed.
10 men on the line of scrimmage for Florida State. Welch felt the pressure a little bit, but gets a nice bounce. Picked up by Sawyer at the 19, and he is swarmed under shortly thereafter. Mike Barber is in there. Chief Osceola and Renegade always at the ready. 1st and 10. Florida State at their own 22. Danny Cannell back to throw. 1st and 10. The pass complete to his tight end. That's Lonnie Johnson. Johnson is off to the races with Terrence Dixon left to meet. Changes direction and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State.
They've told the big guy, Lonnie Johnson, you're as much a lineman now as a blocker. You're not going to get as many opportunities to catch the football. They bring Danny Cannell in the game. They run the tight end right up the middle of the field. And at 240 pounds, he was a man among boys in that small secondary at Clemson.
Danny Cannell throwing his 2nd career touchdown pass. Bentley out of Cannell's hold for the point after. And it is blocked. Blocked and picked up by Dawkins, and he looks like he's going to go all the way. Bentley, the only man who can stop him. Dawkins gets stopped at the 13-yard line.
If they didn't love this kid before, they do now.
Bentley preserves the shutout. It would have been 2 points for Clemson had Dawkins made 13 more yards, but Bentley would have none of it.
Well, kickers usually are off by themselves in practice, and sometimes they don't always feel a part of the team. Sometimes the team doesn't always feel the kicker belongs to them, except in crucial moments. But a play like that for Scott Bentley takes him from that newcomer who can kick the football to a true Seminole right now.
And nobody knows that better than Bobby Bowden. Bobby Bowden talks about the value of having a kicker with the stature of Scott Bentley. Just underway here in the second quarter at Tallahassee. Florida State with scores from Sean Jackson, Bentley with a field goal, and a Lonnie Johnson touchdown of 78 yards. Here's Hood. Matt Fryer making yet another tackle. Helped out that time by Travis Sherman. Sapp first and 10 from his own 24. Derrick Witherspoon in for the first time today, and he gets the call, and he gets introduced to Ken Alexander immediately. Inside linebacker out of Austin, Texas, a senior at 6'4", 247.
Football players keep getting bigger and bigger, but Florida State proves that size alone does not make a great football team, because this Florida State defense is not overwhelmingly large, but all of them can run. Brooks and Alexander from the linebacking spots in particular can fly.
Clemson second and 11 from their own 25. Snap complete. And that's going to be to Smith once again, his third reception of the day out to the 38-yard line. And it's going to be good for about 14 yards and another first down.
How tough do quarterbacks have to be? Patrick Sapp, watch what well, you'll see Terry Smith here running that drag crossing pattern again, and they get the first down. I mean to tell you, Patrick Smith got popped. Watch Kenny Alexander. Boom! But it's a first down.
There's the pitch. Witherspoon trying the corner out and not allowing them to do it is going to be Eric Smith, the outside linebacker. Let's go to the sidelines and Mike Hogwood.
Steve, 1 year ago, before the Florida State-Clemson game, Florida State freshman Mike Hendricks, who was injured, went home to Texas. He was killed tragically. He was electrocuted. Well, the team wants to remember him this weekend. They've got a memorial here just on the side of the bench. It says Mike, number 92. They're remembering their fallen teammate here this weekend. 1 year ago, he was tragically killed in Texas in an accident.
Second down and 12. Sapp showing the option in the pitch to Witherspoon, and again he can't turn the corner. Alonzo Horner is there to shut it down. Horner, a junior college transfer. He's out of Miami. He's a senior, 6'2", 232 pounds. Various ways to stock this Florida State program. They played a lot of true freshmen in their offensive line, and they beefed up their defensive core with junior college transfers. Third and 13. Clemson trailing 16-0. They're at their own 34. Checking off at the line. Florida State with blitz. Clemson picks it up. We have a flag on the play. Pass is overthrown to Terry Smith with Corey Sawyer covering. The flag back at the 34-yard line.
They picked up the blitz of Mac Knight, the strong safety. And let's see if, again, Florida State got into the neutral zone or if one of the Clemson men moved anticipating it.
Illegal motion on the offense. Penalty is refused. Fourth down.
That brings Nelson Welch and the punting unit back on now for Clemson for their third punt of the day.
Bobby Bowden very happy with the way the home opener is unfolding for Ken Hatfield and his offensive staff. Whitey Jordan, the coordinator, and all that. They're going deeper into the playbook now, turning another page. What do you do to beat this speed?
Here comes Welch with 10 men on the line on the block punt, and it's headed toward the end zone. Recovered by Abraham for a touchdown. Derrick Brooks got a piece of the football, and that's all it took.
put 10 men on the line of scrimmage on Welch's last punt, but had a return on. This time they line up the 10, they send the 10, and again that remarkable quickness of Derrick Brooks. Watch number 10, Abraham number 2 on the outside, but Brooks on the inside gets the block. McKnight was also close to the action, and this was a multiple choice chance for the touchdown. Look at Abraham, the junior. He said, I'm gonna get it. He didn't let James Colsey, the true freshman, have it. He said, I've been around longer, kid. This is my touchdown.
He's got 2 against Tulane. This is the 3rd one he's recovered for touchdown. Bentley is true on the point after, and Florida State extends their lead to 23-0 over the Clemson Tigers. 12 minutes to go here in the first half, and the home crowd at Doak Campbell loving it. Clifton Abraham, who for the 2nd time this season has recovered a block punt for a touchdown, did it in the Kansas game, stakes Florida State to a 23-0 lead on Clemson. Patrick Sapp looking at a playbook that is now showing pass, pass, and more pass from here on out to try to offset this deficit to Florida State.
If you're a Clemson player, you're wondering if the additions here at Doak Campbell Stadium included a machine that tilts the field downhill for Florida State and uphill for the opposition, because that's the way the game is going.
2 quick scores, Jack, here in the first 3 minutes of play in the 2nd quarter. Broken open this ball game so far. Humphrey back the other way, and he gets up to about the 28-yard line where he's picked up. And there's a scrape after. Let's go down to the sidelines and Mike Hogwood.
The guys here, one celebrity down here on the Clemson sideline is Emmitt Smith, who is standing right behind me. His brother Emory, of course, plays fullback for Clemson, and I'm not sure Ken Hatfield had looked down there once or twice, and I wonder if that guy has any eligibility left. But Emmitt still hold out with the Dallas Cowboys, is here enjoying the Florida sunshine today, and hopefully trying to get that Clemson offense going.
There's Emory Smith, his brother, of course, the Smith family from nearby Pensacola, Florida. 1st and 10. Clemson at their own 28. Sapp back to throw. It's good protection and drills Hinton. Marcus Hinton at the 41-yard line. A gain of 13. McKnight in on the tackle. Nice ball thrown by Patrick Sapp.
I have growing and growing respect for Patrick Sapp's courage. Watch Henri Crockett come flying through, and another big hit on the Clemson quarterback. Tight zone coverage, but he drills it to Hinton. Watch Crockett's wrap on Sapp. Not quite the pop that he got from Ken Alexander, but those add up and wear on you as the game moves along.
1st and 10 at the 42. Blunt is back in the backfield now. Pass incomplete, intended for Hinton at the 48. Again, lots of pressure on Sapp, who changed his uniform number this year. He wore 14 last year, changed to 3, and the reason he gave, he said maybe it'll make me look quicker.
Well, the other thing he did too is he dropped a lot of weight. He played last year at almost 240 pounds. He's now down around 225, and they think shedding those extra pounds have made him a little better in terms of the footwork.
He's going to have to crank it up against this Florida State defense. They'll pin their ears back here on 2nd and 10. Sapp on the rollout, complete to Terry Smith, and Smith gets out to about midfield to the 50-yard line. He's good for an 8-yard gain, and Dulac Gourier is in there on the tackle.
Corey Sawyer wanted to give Smith a necktie tackle, and he ducked underneath it. Terry now hobbling off the field, however, like he pulled a muscle or has got a cramp. The Tigers can ill afford to lose their veteran receiver in a game when they need to really rally from a big deficit.
Means they've got to bring their tight end back on the field, Franklin Thomas, and they do. It's 3rd down and 1. Clemson trailing 23-0. Pass complete to Marcus Hinton at the Florida State 38-yard line. This will be Clemson's deepest penetration in Seminole territory this afternoon, but Sapp threw it right there.
Hinton, a management major out of Powder Springs, Georgia, did not play a lot last year, although he caught a 51-yard touchdown against North Carolina. 2 curl routes here that have picked up yardage for the Tigers. They have been in Florida State territory several times in this game, but each opportunity has been denied by that quick Florida State defense.
1st and 10. The Florida State 38. Sapp again, too tall for Marcus Hinton. Richard Coe is covering for Florida State.
Corey Sawyer was also trying to guess. He recognized the audible at the line of scrimmage, and Sawyer said they're going to run that little stop up. I'm going to step in front of it and pick it off. And Hinton did a good job of running it a little farther up the field. Sapp's pass was too tall for everybody, but Sawyer could have been burned big time had that pass connected.
So it's 2nd down and 10. Ball on the Florida State 38-yard line. 10:16 left to go in the first half. Clemson down by 23. Sapp pursued and finally tackled. Todd Rebold. He threw the football. It's ruled incomplete.
Well, he had Jason Davis right there in front of him. He kind of just made like a slingshot move towards Davis, but Davis was in the area and the pass was almost completed. Pretty heady play by the sophomore quarterback. Watch right here. He gets away from the pressure of Cowart. As he's going down, just flipped it forward before the knee hit.
Heady play by Sapp. Great defensive play by Rebold. 3rd down and 10. 4-man rush. Sapp has time and has a receiver. Jason Davis complete at the 15, now the 14-yard line. It's a gain of 23 yards. Down to the sidelines once again at Mike Hogwood.
Good news for the Clemson Tigers. Terry Smith has a slightly sprained knee, but as you might imagine, a game of this magnitude, he's shaking that off, and as you see, he's grabbing his helmet. He should be back in the game in a moment.
Jason Davis and Marcus Hinton have played well in his stead, and it's 1st and 10. Clemson now in 4-down territory at the 14. Wyatt and Hinton, the wide receivers. They'll go to the short side, and Blunt falls in the face of Derrick Brooks for a loss of 1.
It rained pretty well here in the Tallahassee area last night. That's the first real noticeable slip we've seen in this game, as Blunt wanted to cut back with Brooks and company staring down at him.
Patrick Sapp. 2nd down and 11. Pursuit by Roberson, drilled by Roberson back at the 25. It's a loss of 11 yards.
Well, they left Franklin Thomas in the ball game to help out on the wide side with the blocking, but he stepped inside and nobody picked up James Roberson. The junior out of Lake Wales, Florida, comes through untouched. Patrick Sapp, lucky he didn't fumble that one. That blindside hit many times forces the fumble.
3rd and 21 for Clemson back at the Florida State 25-yard line. Sapp has Mario Greer and Rodney Blunt in the backfield. He's putting it up for the corner for Smith. Smith almost got it away from Corey Sawyer. What a battle. Those two said they'd battle, and they have not disappointed us.
Sapp recognizing the blitz again, throws the fade route, and looks like Sawyer in the battle might have had the wind knocked out of him as he fell heavily. He and Terry Smith battling for the football right at the goal line. Sapp just couldn't get enough on it to get it out far enough where Smith's size would be an advantage over Sawyer.
Sawyer's the one they're attending to. Let's see it again.
Got the nose up just a little bit too much. And watch the hit right there. I think he knocked the wind out of himself when he fell down.
Sawyer coming off under his own power. Look how close Smith gets to this. And doesn't quite get it.
Well, when you throw the fade route, you want the nose of the football to turn over, just like a punt. And on that one, Sapp had the nose of the football stay up, so it hangs short, and that's usually an advantage for the defensive back.
Travis Harvey will hold for Nelson Welch, who will kick this from 42 yards. His longest this year has been a 24-yarder last week against UNLV. And there you see the story of Nelson Welch. His career longest is 53, so this is well within range. Wins at his back. going to be short.
This Florida State defense has given up only 7 points this year, and that came late in the ball game in Durham after a fumbled punt.
Florida State up by 23. We'll be back. Florida State up 23-0. Their defense has answered the call so far. 8:04 left to go in the second quarter of our X on ACC Game of the Week. Steve Martin along with Jack Horrigan and Mike Hogwood. Statistically, well, the rushing average, Clemson probably won't get a chance to cart out too much of their ground game for the remainder of the afternoon, but Florida State with a hefty average per rush. Danny Cannell in a 78-yarder. Hits Warwick Dunn this time on the handoff, and Dunn tries to break into the outside, and he is flattened after about a 3-yard gain to the 28. Mike Barber, the inside linebacker, is the man who caught up with him. Cannell, the second string, comes in for a play to start a drive, and you know they hit a touchdown last time, so we haven't seen Charlie Ward in the Hound Dogs age. He's back out there, though. Ward with Marquette Smith and William Floyd behind him. And off to Floyd, the fullback, and he is up over the 31-yard line, brought down by Barber and Wardell Rouse once again. William Floyd for a gain of about 3. Now bring up 3rd down and 4.
William Floyd has been named an honorary offensive lineman by his front wall teammates because of all the blocking and effort he makes out of that fullback spot.
Played a backup tight end last year for FSU. Here's Ward with time. Pass complete to Fryer. Hits him on a run. And he's in Clemson territory at the 41-yard line. Leomont Evans from Abbeville, South Carolina on the tackle, but it's a 28-yard gain.
Now look at that young secondary for Clemson. Not only young in terms of their class ranking, but also young in terms of experience out on the field. And against a veteran wide receiver like Fryer, that's a definite mismatch.
1st and 10, Florida State moving the football again in Clemson territory and doing it out of the fast break offense. Fryer is wide out to one side. Knox to the other. Ward to throw, complete to Floyd. Floyd brought down by Tim Jones, Mike Barber, Wardell Rouse. Rouse comes up with the football, and Clemson has it. They stripped Floyd of the football, and Clemson forces the turnover.
Well, they needed to make something happen to try and get themselves back into the game emotionally as well. Watch the end of the play. Right there, it was Tim Jones who actually popped the ball. No, the last minute it was Rouse coming over the top who was able to pull it away from Floyd after the initial hit by Tim Jones and help from Mike Barber.
1st and 10, Clemson at their own 30-yard line. Clemson trailing 23-0. There is Blunt. Blunt gets past one man. Reball is there to bring him down along with Ken Alexander, but it's a gain on the play of about 5 yards out to the 36-yard line.
First time that they have been able to get some room to the outside and gain a little bit on the ground. Clemson needs to get a score on the board here on this drive. I think get back 23-7 and maybe have that score at halftime. You're still in it.
Davis and Terry Smith back into the ball game as the wide receivers to the top side, into the bottom, but this time it goes to Emery Smith, the tailback, or the fullback rather, out to the 38-yard line. A gain of 2. James Roberson and Ken Alexander on the tackle. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the Atlantic Coast Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports prohibited.
The Alexander boys, Kenny and Derrick, again with their quickness, negating the quick trap by Smith from gaining a first down.
3rd and 2, Clemson down 23-0. Blitz is on, Sapp reads it, pass complete to Jason Davis for the first down at the 43-yard line. A 5-yard gain, and Richard Coase gets credit for the tackle.
Devin Bush, the safety, was blitzing on the play, and he comes up hobbling a little bit. Watch Bush come from the right side of your screen. Good block by Emery Smith to enable Sapp to get that ball out there to Jason Davis when Bush was blitzing on the play.
1st and 10. Clemson at their own 43. Hinton to the top side. Davis and Smith to the bottom. Blunt the setback in the eye. Sapp to throw, and to throw big. One Smith. Great catch at the 3-4-yard line. McKnight covering on the play, but what a catch by Terry Smith.
Great doesn't begin to describe that catch. Stayed with it, great concentration, good coverage by Florida State. But Terry Smith, who was all conference 2 seasons ago, staking a claim to that job again here in '93. Full out, the full extension. There was excellent coverage by McKnight. Florida State wants to take a timeout as Clemson has a great chance to score, but keep in mind, Kansas had a dozen tries inside the 10-yard line against Florida State in the Kickoff Classic and came up empty.
Terry Smith on the other end of a pass and run play that goes about 60 yards down to the 4-yard line. And Smith, who earlier in the day, of course, eclipsed the 2,000-yard mark. There's what he's done so far this afternoon. About 60 coming in that last clump.
Well, it was 10-0 towards the end of the first quarter, and you figure, well, we're not playing that badly. And then all of a sudden you get the long bomb touchdown pass to Johnson, then the block punt for another score. And if you're a Clemson player, you're thinking, what are we going to do now? I mean, it's 23-0 and we're just into the second quarter. You need a big play to happen. They get one from Rouse making the fumble recovery. Now they get the long pass completion to Terry Smith. Kenny Hatfield says, hey, we get a score in here and hang on, we're not out of this one.
To Terry Smith.
Clemson will have to call a timeout. They had a mix-up on personnel, and the huddle clock was down to about 6. And Patrick Sapp has to use another timeout.
Clemson now down to 1 timeout. 5:12 left to go here in the first half. Ken Hatfield a little upset at what's happened. Clemson 5-5 against top 10 teams. Their last win against a top 20 team against North Carolina last season. They have never beaten a #1 team. They beat Nebraska for the national championship in 1981. They were ranked 4th, I believe, at the time.
That was the great Homer Jordan team. Bobby Bowden and his defensive unit. Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator. Chuck Amato, the assistant head coach, who also specializes in defense.
Ken Hatfield has got to be happy with what he's seen out of his sophomore quarterback this afternoon. He comes into the season with a lot of faith in Patrick Sapp.
I tried to learn, and then he was better when he went back in.
1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Here's the handoff. Blunt trying to get to the 2. And does just that. Derrick Brooks helps out on the tackle.
Why is it so tough to score inside the 5 against Florida State? 2 reasons. Their down linemen have such great anticipation of the snap, get off the ball so quickly, they negate the charge of the offensive line, and their linebackers are so quick it's hard to turn the corner.
2nd and goal from the 2. Full house backfield. Witherspoon, Blunt, and Smith behind Sapp. Both ends are tight. Blunt runs into his old man, may have gotten to about the 1. Again goes down in the grasp of Alonzo Horner, senior out of Miami, and Witherspoon is about a yard away. This will bring down 3rd down. The clock moving with 4:18 left. The officials now break things up, and they'll stop the clock. Ken Hatfield dearly wants his Tigers to show signs of a comeback in this one, and a score would do just that. And he'd rather have 7. 3rd and goal from the 1. Blunt almost there, and what a tackle by Ken Alexander. What a play. And Derrick Brooks
was no way Blunt wasn't in the end zone. Watch numbers 36 and 10. They block out Abraham. Derrick Brooks, I mean, that is a big-time first contact hit.
One more time.
Alexander made sure he didn't come off it. Right there, what great technique.
Clemson shunning 3, they want 6. 4th and goal. Sack. Blunt doesn't get there. Horner on the stop with Alexander. Florida State holds one more time.
They decided to run away from their big guys, tried to go short side of the field, came up empty.
23-0 the score. Florida State leading Clemson with 3:11 left as you look at it again.
Alonzo Horner with the big hit on that 4th down play. He actually knocked his own teammate, I think James Roberson, into Rodney Blunt and knocked Blunt off his feet.
What a stand, but it's not unusual for Florida State. Alonzo Horner with a hit, and now Charlie Ward has the ball at his own 1-yard line. Here's Floyd, the fullback. Gets around Dawkins. On the move, Dawkins coming back to get him again, and the football is lost to Clemson. Tigers have it. Picking it up on the play is Leomont Evans.
Brian Dawkins was faked out on the play by William Floyd. He came back and stripped Floyd of the football with that whack right there. Second straight time that Floyd has had the ball in his hands and lost it on a fumble.
Well, you wondered moments ago whether Clemson should have gone for the field goal and settled for points. Thought that maybe they put it on the floor right there. Now they get a golden opportunity to get back once more. Inside the Florida State 20-yard line. Florida State showing blitz. Handoff goes to Blunt, and this one looks like the 3 goal line tries before. Again left, and Derrick Alexander is there with the big stop.
Derrick Alexander is having a fine ball game at defensive end. Great quickness. Sophomore out of Raines High School in Jacksonville. Watch him slip off the block of Greg Burke and make the stop for virtually no gain. Alexander was a 5-sport letterman in high school. 5 sports.
Wrestling, baseball, basketball, track, and football. Second down. Throw is in the end zone and intercepted by Clifton Abraham for the touchback. Flag down inside the 10.
Corey Sawyer and Terry Smith going at it on the opposite side.
Antoine Wyatt was the intended receiver.
They're going to get defensive holding, I believe, on Corey Sawyer.
Courtney Mauzé is going to come out and tell us what it is.
Have 1 pass interference call on the defense, 1 pass interference call on the offense. Penalties all set. We'll replay the down. 2nd down.
Anticipate the blitz again. Trying to get inside Antoine Wyatt, trying to get inside of Abraham. An excellent interception by Clifton Abraham, but it gets negated because on the other side of the field, that's the first time I've ever seen that. Offsetting interference calls.
Interesting. That would have been the 6th career interception by Abraham. Otherwise, now it comes up 2nd down and 10. Clemson at the Florida State 19-yard line, trying to cash in on William Floyd's fumble. They trail by 23. Pass is batted down. Looks like Alexander got it. Derrick Alexander. The sophomore Jack just talked about from Jacksonville, Florida, knocks down the ball. It is 3rd down coming.
Doing it against his friend and former high school teammate, Patrick Sapp. Again, the blitz with the strong safety, Devin Bush. It was anticipated by Sapp. He was looking for Smith on the slant route. You got to get your defensive end to get his hands in the air, and Alexander did just that.
Clemson with only 1 timeout left, 2:13 left to go here in the first half. 3rd down and 10, Florida State leading 23-0. Sapp, ball batted again and intercepted. Cowart comes up with it. I believe McIntosh hit it. Chris Cowart will recover, the junior from New Orleans, Louisiana.
You lose Dan Footman, Carl Simpson, Marvin Jones, and it just apparently doesn't seem to make any difference. This Florida State defense is as good, if not better, than the '92 edition.
At the Florida State 20-yard line. Seen an afternoon of highlights just out of this first half, and now Charlie Ward wants timeout. And Florida State now is down to their final timeout with 2:07 left to go. And Ward comes to the sideline to talk things over with the Seminole Offensive Brain Trust. This is the largest in history, and it's the largest in history not because of the interest in the game. There was interest, but they added more seats, 12,000 since 1991, and the continuing rebuilding process here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Not only are they refurbishing the stadium, but they're also upgrading academic facilities here at this very site. Ward to throw on 1st and 10. As a man, Fryer incomplete. Now they say he got it. One official overrules him, however, says it's incomplete. Humphrey covering on the play for Clemson.
Well, you know Florida State is not going to be content to just run this clock down, Steve. They would love to put another score on the board, be up by 30 at halftime, and know you could pretty much have it salted away.
Well, they know Clemson can drive the field because they did it once, did not score, and then, of course, Florida State has to address the issue of putting the ball on the floor twice. Ward on 2nd and 10. Complete to Jackson. And Jackson knocked out of bounds by Derrick Burnett at the 28-yard line. It's a gain of about 7. And it stops the clock with 1:53 left to go as he did get out of bounds. It'll bring up 3rd down for Florida State. Florida State is always in a hurry-up offense, so a team that is in a constant 2-minute drill and has perfected it. Floyd and Jackson are back in the shotgun. It's Ward with 3rd and 3. His team leading 23-0. Ward being pursued. Gets away from one man and gets the 1st down. Humphrey is the man who comes up. Randolph had a chance to get him. Bernard Randolph, but it was Andre Humphrey that brought Ward down after the 1st at his 35-yard line.
Looked like he was dribbling up court, breaking the press for the FSU basketball team. Little dipsy doodle here, little fake there, give a leg, take it away, keep my balance, get the 1st down.
All that on one play.
He can do that to you on one play.
Yes, he can. Do more on one play than a lot of quarterbacks get to do in a quarter. Here's the handoff to Jackson. And Jackson gets a little bit of running room to the 40-yard line. Brett Williams, redshirt freshman from Albany, Georgia, makes the tackle. It's a gain of about 5 on the play. 1:08 clock rolling. Florida State with just a timeout remaining. 23-0. Seminoles on top. And their defense has come through with a turnover and a big 4th and 1 goal line stand. Penalty on the play. Pass is complete to Vanover. Vanover squirts away from Humphrey, but Dawkins pulls him down in Clemson territory at the 39-yard line. Looks like it'll be a motion penalty against Florida State that'll take this one back.
On the offense, 2 men moving. 5-yard penalty.
So Vanover's catch is negated.
DeMarc has been relatively quiet today, but he is a game breaker. Bobby Bowden asking what the problem was, and Sean Jackson's motion apparently coincided with motion elsewhere in the offense, and that's why the illegal motion was called. Bobby didn't agree with the call.
2nd down and 9. Ball on the 36-yard line. Clock moving, 34 seconds left to go here in the first half. Ward rushes on. Here's the screen to Marquette Smith, incomplete. Darnell Stevens in pursuit. That stops the clock with 26 seconds left.
A good upfield pressure on the screen by Brinson Buckner. Tell you what, for a 300-pounder, he can move and force Charlie Ward to throw that screen before he wanted to.
3rd down and 9. 26 seconds left to go. Florida State leading 23-0. Rushes on. Ward gets off a wobbly one, and Vanover is there to catch it. Darnell Stevens brings him down at the 26-yard line of Clemson. A 39-yard pass, catch, and run play by Tamarick Vanover out of pressure.
Like I said, he's been quiet, but he is a potential game breaker. Ward got hit pretty well after he let it go, but Vanover's open up the sidelines, and Stevens saved the touchdown.
That stops the clock. Now moving again. 13 seconds left to go. Florida State hoping to get another play away. Clemson gets after Charlie Ward. Buckner is there, and time runs out on the first half, as they do not blow it dead. But now there's a mix-up over Charlie Ward, and Florida State very protective of their quarterback. Officials and Clemson coaches now holding Clemson off the field. Florida State will do the same. There's a flag being thrown into the action as well, and it looks like the coaches and the officials have done an excellent job getting it under control. Well, whenever the quarterback is involved, especially Charlie Ward, Florida State has made it known that they will protect him. And the first half has come to an end. Bobby Bowden talks with Courtney Mose as they leave the field. Upbeat about the way things could go. His team has had its chances, been in the 20 twice.
Well, keep in mind what Bobby Bowden said to Mike at the start of halftime, that this was a Clemson team that trailed Virginia last year 28-0 at Charlottesville and came back to win the ball game. Take a bigger task to accomplish that today, but it's certainly possible.
A 50-yard penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Florida as time expired. Florida State, rather, as time expired, gives Clemson a 15-yard edge here. Welch will kick it at halftime, but he's got to be careful to keep it in play and get the proper coverage. So to justify this penalty and start Florida State deep, or kick it in the end zone and prevent any return whatsoever from Tamarick Vanover, who's yet to return a kick this season. He's not back there, though. It goes out of the end zone. And it is going to be 1st and 10 at the 20 after the touchback. Warwick Dunn and Kevin Knox were back, and there seem to be more words here. As this rivalry is, as we say, it is young, but there's enough that has happened in the first 6 games and so far in this first half of football to justify you not leaving this for a moment. 23-0 as we start the second half, and Charlie Ward comes out with the offense. Bobby Bowden very upset with the 2 William Floyd fumbles. The defense made up for it and held. 1st and 10, we're at the 20. Second half underway. Here's Sean Jackson. Jackson, who came into this game needing just 70 yards to move into 10th spot all time on the Florida State rushing list, is tackled by Carlos Curry.
With some help from linebacker Tim Jones as well. Florida State, I think, wants to reestablish some superiority on the line of scrimmage on this opening possession if they can.
You know, this no huddle that Florida State goes into is much different than Maryland's. They're not reading at the line of scrimmage. They've got to play in mind as they step up there. For Clemson, it's important today that they rotate people in there to keep fresh bodies on the field. Ward back to throw off play action. It is complete to Kevin Knox at the 40-yard line. A gain of 20 yards on the play. It is Brian Dawkins coming up to make the stop for Clemson.
Recognize the 2 deep zone. The play action fake keeps the linebackers in. You see Tim Jones there late getting out into the underneath coverage. Charlie Ward with all kinds of time and finds Knox between the short and deep men for a first down.
At the 40. Jackson and Floyd back again. Knox, McCorvey to the top, Fryer to the bottom side. Out of the shotgun. Here's the draw play to Floyd. And Floyd gets ahead to about the 45-yard line. In on the tackle for Clemson, number 99, Lamarick Simpson. 2nd down and 5. These teams have finished either 2nd or 3rd the last 5 years, and they feel they've got the ammunition to take it all. Ward. Back into the flats to Jackson. And Jackson has caught already a touchdown today. Gets out to the 48-yard line. A gain of 3. Dawkins and Simpson in on the tackle.
Good downfield coverage that time by Clemson, but again, without a lot of pressure on that guy, Charlie Ward. He just sat back there and waited. Said, I can't go upfield. I've got my release man. I'll get a few more yards and move it into 3rd and short.
Charlie Ward checking off on the line. He's got Fryer to the top side, and his back's in the eye. Now splits them again, and Clemson has to readjust. Ward passes incomplete, intended for Fryer, and Humphrey is there to cover.
The Seminole fans thinking that Humphrey got to Fryer too quickly.
If Florida State continues offensively as they do, this man won't be busy. Clemson showed 10 men, and they peeled back in a revert into a return. McLean at the 16. McLean has some running room and gets out to about the 33-yard line. And Liss, the punter, decides to come on and make the stop along with Todd Rebohl. His first punt of the day is a 36-yarder. And Clemson comes back out offensively.
Well, Kenny Hatfield said we have to have them deep because we got the penalty. We could stop them, get the ball back, make something happen, get back in the game. Well, the first half of it's been accomplished. His defense dug in near midfield and shut down Florida State. Now he's got to figure out a way to dent what has been a nearly impregnable offense, at least in terms of scoring.
And at least in terms of what they've been able to get on the ground. Patrick Sapp's done well in the air. Goes with Emery Smith, the fullback, and he is hit. Nance and Alexander in on the tackle. I think Ken Alexander delivered the hit at the line of scrimmage with help from Big John Nance.
He did not play in spring practice because of a bout of mononucleosis, but watch 36 step up into the hole and bow.
Also, Terrant Marion came in with a nice play that stacked up the interference into the play as well. 2nd down and 10. And this is just what Ken Hatfield feared, that his ground game could not set up the pass well enough. Pressure is on. Pass nearly picked off. Derrick Brooks. What hasn't he done today? The pass intended for Davis.
Well, Brooks picked off a ball for a touchdown last week against the Duke Blue Devils. He had number 2 in his sights right there. Good pressure on Sapp as he let it go, and again, one of the few times today that he has thrown into coverage trying to find his favorite target, Terry Smith. And you could see that Florida State's defense now putting increasing amount of emphasis on where Smith lines up.
Clemson at their own 33, showing 3rd and 11. They trail Florida State 23-0.
Down to 3 on the huddle clock. And did he get the timeout
no,
call
he didn't.
first? I don't think so.
Nope. Flag is thrown on the far side of the field, and for the 2nd time this afternoon, Clemson is caught for delay of game as they come out with precious little time remaining on the time clock.
We got a charge timeout. Charge timeout to Clemson.
He got it. They say he got it. The flag flew, but Sapp beat the gun again. And has to burn a timeout here in the 3rd quarter with 11:47 left to go. Patrick Sapp heads to the sideline. Sapp has done a pretty good job in throwing the football in obvious situations.
He is one of a group of Sunshine State natives on the Clemson team. Sapp and Dawkins were both from the same high school, and likewise for Smith, Blunt, and Davis out of Pine Forest High School.
Wardell Rouse has had a big defensive play. Sapp was recruited by Florida State, but he decided to go to Clemson instead, and he should play a very big role there. His numbers pretty respectable. 1 interception, 188 yards, and was just early on in the third quarter. But unfortunately, he's been the only one who's been able to generate any type of offense for the Tigers this afternoon.
He and Terry Smith hooking up for 118 of the 188 yards in passing.
Our XUMO ACC game of the week. Top 20 showdown between Clemson and Florida State, and the Seminoles have had their way. 3rd down and 11. Rushes on, and Sapp is going to run out of it, and Marion is the one who brings him down shy of the first down at the 39-yard line. It'll be a gain of 6, but it'll bring the punting unit on the field once more.
Tyrant Marion, who went into the starting lineup for the first time last week, the redshirt sophomore out of Pompano Beach, Florida, probably has the best speed on that defensive front line.
6'2", 245. There's Nelson Welch. Corey Sawyer is back. Welch. It's a line drive. Sawyer has to flatten himself out at the 23-yard line, and he's been banged up quite a bit today, and he'll come off a little slowly as Terry Smith, actually Andre Humphrey, is there to cover on special teams. Welcome back to Tallahassee. Steve Martin, Jack Corrigan, and Mike Hogwood watching on as Florida State leads Clemson 23-0 in our XUMO ACC game of the week from Jefferson Pilot Sports. Charlie Ward, the Heisman leader, has done nothing to dispel that notion either this afternoon. Back to throw. Clemson on the rush. The pass is complete to Kevin Knox at the 38-yard line. It'll be a gain of 15 yards for Florida State, make it 14. And another first down for the Seminoles. Charlie Ward, off-season surgery. There you see what he's done this afternoon. 213 yards, and he's made it look easy. Off-season surgery for a partially dislocated left shoulder suffered in basketball season. I thought this was the contact sport. Ward, upfield to a waiting receiver. That is going to be Andre Cooper for his first catch of the year, a 16-yard reception.
Great timing, great touch pass by Charlie Ward. That ball arriving just as Cooper turned, and you can't do it any better than that. He's now thrown more than 80 passes without an interception.
He's found 7 different receivers tonight, this afternoon rather. 1st and 10. Florida State in Clemson territory at the 46. Ward throws again, complete. Kevin Knox. Knox wrapped up by Leomont Evans, the sophomore out of Abbeville, South Carolina, and it is good enough for another first down.
You have to credit Shiver and Tyre and Hernandez and McNeil and Connolly and the other offensive linemen who play for the excellent protection that Ward gets. Great timing here. Fryer wide open in one spot. Likewise for Knox as he curled farther to the inside.
19-yard gain, 1st and 10. Florida State carving up Clemson real estate right now. Here's the draw, goes to Jackson. Jackson has some running room, and he's down inside the 15. Brought down by Evans again, and Dawkins, also Carlos Curry on the play. Gain of 14 on this play.
It almost seemed like either Charlie wasn't sure he had gotten it into the midsection of Sean Jackson, or he hadn't yet determined that, yes, I'm going to give him the football. But that delay also, I think, helped the play unfold.
1st and 10 at the 13-yard line. Ward again over the middle. Knox for the 3rd time this drive to the 5-yard line.
Clemson with the blitz. Ward and his receivers with the proper recognition. You throw the ball to the spot where the linebacker vacated. And that's exactly what Ward and Knox did on that first down play. Actually, not quite a first down, 2nd and short.
2nd. About 3. There's Ward again. Pressure by Buckner, gets away. Throws for the end zone for Fryer, incomplete. Dixon in the vicinity. Pressure by Brenson Buckner. We haven't called his name too often this afternoon.
Buckner is able to work his way in from the outside, but the elusiveness again of Charlie Ward finds Fryer in the back corner. Had to get it high to get it over that underneath coverage, and Fryer couldn't bring it down.
Third down and about 3. Handoff goes to Floyd. Floyd looking for room. Michael Barber stacks him up with Brenson Buckner and Darnell Stevens. He's going to be close to the first down, and he may have enough to get it.
Mr. Floyd saying, sure, I got the first down, and the guys in the striped shirts agree with him.
So it's 1st and goal, and now it's Clemson's turn for a goal line stand. They're at the 3-yard line of Clemson with 8:39 left to go here in the third quarter. Florida State trying to add to a 23-0 lead.
Take McCorvey out of the ball game and bring Lonnie Johnson in at tight end for an extra blocker on the left side of Charlie Ward.
Got Kevin Knox out to that side. Fryer split wide to the bottom side. Jackson gets the handoff, looks for the end zone, but then gets flattened at the 2. In there on the stop, leading the tackle was Marvin Cross, the outside linebacker.
Patrick McNeil was trying to pull and lead this play around the left side, but the Clemson up front people did a good job of clogging the zone. Watch number 69. They're out trying to lead it up, and it was a good job by Brian Dawkins, the rover back, to take the blocker out of the play and allow his pursuing defenders to finish it off.
2nd down and goal. See the construction in the background here at Doak Campbell Stadium. They're announcing attendance at 74,000 today. Ward back to throw. Great play fake. Buckner is there. Ward with a man open. It is Lonnie Johnson for the 2nd time this afternoon. Touchdown.
Lonnie Johnson, who caught only 8 balls for 80 yards in all of the 92 campaign, has 2 touchdowns and 80 yards in this ball game. And again, Clemson had great defense there. Brenson Buckner anticipated the rollout. He was there. It didn't make any difference with Charlie Ward.
Scott Bentley on to kick out of the hold of Danny Cannell. It is up. And it is good. Bentley perfect again, and Florida State has scored on 5 of their 8 possessions this afternoon, and they lead. 7:31 left to go in the third. It's Florida State 30, Clemson nothing.
Watch number 89 in white, Brenson Buckner, the fine defensive lineman for Clemson. He's right there, and Charlie Ward freezes him, rolls away from him. Now the defense is spread out, not sure where he's going to go. He throws back against the grain. Lonnie Johnson has his 2nd score.
And Florida State's 30th point of the afternoon. Bentley's kick is received at the 1-yard line by Greg Hood. And Hood brings it back out to the 24-yard line. So Hood on a nice return. Ken Alexander is in on the stop on special teams. The scoring drive, well, they went 77 yards, but it doesn't take them long. 3:34. 4 passes in that drive to Kevin Knox for 61 yards. The pass to Johnson, his 2nd TD of the day, and he's got 80 yards already in reception yardage this afternoon. Florida State 30-0 over Clemson. Clemson with the football 1st and 10 at their own 24. Patrick Sapp to Rodney Blunt. And Blunt, it's a little bit of daylight out over the 28-yard line. Todd Reball is in there on the stop, and Blunt looks like he's shaken up a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to need some assistance after taking a pretty good pop there from Mr. Reball and company. Got to tell you though, Steve, after watching the ball game in the Kickoff Classic, didn't get to see as much of the Duke game last week as I would have liked to, but now again through 3 quarters, not even 3 quarters here, there are great Heisman candidates out there like Marshall Faulk and the rest, but who has done more as efficiently as Charlie has done for Florida State? Charlie Ward is just, he's been near perfect.
The only thing he hasn't done is play defense. That's about it this afternoon. Rodney Blunt, there you see where he's leaving the field under his own power, gingerly. Derrick Witherspoon likely will take his place in that backfield.
The Florida State schedule this year, in their efforts to go 13-0, is one that is good in that they don't have that many big road games. They got a big one next week against North Carolina. They play at Florida and they play at Notre Dame, but they've got Miami here, Clemson here, Virginia here,
Georgia Tech here.
NC State here.
They played the entire month of October here at Bill Campbell Stadium. Second down and about 7 for Clemson. Witherspoon fights for tough yards to get over the 30. Alexander made the initial hit. And Nance, there's the schedule again. They have an off week after they take on North Carolina, so they'll have 2 weeks to prepare for Georgia Tech here. And then you see the month of October here in Tallahassee before they go to Maryland, at Notre Dame, and then have NC State here for their home finale before going to Florida. Bobby Bowden. 3rd down and 4. Clemson trailing 30-0. Sapp. Incomplete, intended for Terry Smith. Corey Sawyer covering on the play, and Nelson Welch will come on with the punting unit once more.
They dominated Kansas in the heat in New Jersey. They dominated Duke in the rain and mud in Durham. Under perfect conditions today here in Tallahassee, the domination continues.
Ball takes a Florida State bounce to the 42-yard line of Clemson. An 11-yard punt for Nelson Welch. And that's where Florida State will take over 1st and 10. And looks like we're going to see another quarterback come out into the battle. And this is going to be, well, no, it's going to be Ward once more. I mistook Fryer for someone else. So Fryer will be out there at the wideout, and Ward stays on here in the 3rd. 30-0. Florida State leading. They have 1st and 10 in Clemson territory at the 42. Jackson. Nice block by Floyd. And Jackson gets nice running room down to the 30-yard line. It'll be a 12-yard gain before Barber drove him out with Dixon. But what a job. William Floyd took out 2 on the corner that time.
Well, that's what we talked about before. Brad Scott, their offensive coordinator, saying that William Floyd is an honorary offensive lineman. Look at that pop. Tell you what, they get good blocking on the perimeter from their wide receivers as well.
Pass complete to Knox. 5th catch of the half. And he is knocked out of bounds by Dexter McLean, and there's a little extra action going on over there.
I hate to correct you, partner. He wasn't knocked down. Dexter McLean was knocked down. Knox just ran out of legal territory. Boy, wide receivers love to be the hitter rather than the hittee, and that was a good pop by Kevin Knox.
I wonder, can receivers get pancakes? Here is Dunn into the end zone. Wow. Warwick Dunn, the true freshman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
You mention this young man's name to the Florida State coaches, and they start spewing out superlatives that don't often go out to a true freshman. They said this kid is so much more than they thought when they recruited him. They knew he was going to be good. They say he has the elusiveness and the vision of Dexter Carter. Look at that spin. And then look at him find the end zone.
Here's the kick by Bentley, and this one is wide. Out of the hold of Danny Cannell, so he has missed for the first time this afternoon. The other was blocked. And Florida State still has 36 points on the board, thanks to Warwick Dunn's run and catch after the pass from Charlie Ward. With 5:42 left in the 3rd, it's 36-0 Florida State. 36-0 Florida State leading Clemson with 5:42 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Steve Martin, Jack Corrigan, Mike Hogwood. Florida State is #1, and they have looked like it, and maybe even better than that all afternoon. Bentley. The kick is taken by Humphrey. Short kick, and he squirts out of it at the 25. Eludes Abraham, and finally is brought down at the 43-yard line. Jermaine Green of Florida State in on the tackle.
Well, I have to echo what you just said, Steve, because they were very impressive in the wins over Kansas and Duke, but this is a top 20 team. This is a ball club that's a pretty good team, the Clemson Tigers, and they have had the same kind of domination, the big plays defensively when they have needed to, the ability to score quickly, to score on drives. It's been the total package.
All right, 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Derrick Witherspoon in for Rodney Blunt. And Emery Smith, the fullback, gets the call. And Louis Solomon is at quarterback. Let's get down to the sidelines of Mike Hogwood.
Well, Steve, Corey Sawyer, cornerback for Florida State's been taken to the locker room. He's got a hip pointer. He definitely will not be back today, and they're concerned about him for the North Carolina game next week. They've gone to put ice on it and treat it, but Corey Sawyer definitely out of the game today.
Solomon, the new quarterback. Solomon, the hero of the Virginia comeback, a sophomore out of Somerset, New Jersey. He suffered an injury, a hip injury, that kept him out of action the last part of the season, and he's on. He's on the spot, as a matter of fact, and gets out over the 45-yard line before James Roberson tracks him down at the 47. It's going to be a gain on the play of about 5 for Louis Solomon, as Patrick Sapp takes a seat on the bench. He hasn't played that badly as far as his passing is concerned, but they feel that Solomon might be a better threat to provide some balance as far as the run is concerned.
Well, also in a 36-0 ball game where you're expecting to throw a lot, you don't want to kill the young man with the pressure that Florida State will put on.
Here comes Smith on the draw. There's nothing there. Read nicely by Derrick Alexander, who have called his name continually this afternoon as Solomon is collared. It's 3rd down and 3. Sapp on the sideline. 4th down, actually. 4th down coming up. And that'll bring the punt unit on once more. Clemson, 3 possessions, 3 punts. Florida State this half, 3 possessions, 2 touchdowns and a punt. Kes McCorvey back in punt formation. The rush is on, but Welch gets it away. McCorvey at the 16.
Has a wall.
Big block up the side. McCorvey finally driven out of bounds by Emery Smith in front of the Clemson bench at the 41-yard line of Clemson. A 43-yard return.
Watch the right side of your screen as that picket fence of Garnett is set up by the Florida State kicking team. What a pop was put on Andy McCrory of Clemson, and Kes McCorvey nearly scored it.
His first return of a punt this season, and that gives Florida State ideal field position at the Clemson 41-yard line, where they started, ironically, their last drive, which resulted in a score. Marquette Smith in the backfield with Floyd. Here's Ward. It is complete to Kevin Knox. And Dixon is the one who drove him out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
When I mentioned the consecutive string without throwing an interception earlier in the game in terms of Charlie Ward, that was an ACC competition. It goes back to a Georgia Tech game of a year ago. He has not thrown an interception in conference play since. He has yet to throw one here in '93 in nearly 100 attempps.
1 touchdown as Florida State given up this season. 2nd down and 1. They're at the 33. Ward to the flats. Wide open is McCorvey. Shakes Barber away and gets it to the 25-yard line for a gain of 7. What does your husband do for a living? He's a mascot. Okay. All right. Very good.
Well, you ought to know, partner, the Charlotte Hornet does pretty well for himself, and the San Diego Chicken does extremely well as a mascot.
That's right. There's big money in it. Clarence Pooh Bear Williams gets the call for the first time this afternoon and picks up the 1st down. Or gets close to it, actually. He gets about 9 on the play, makes 2nd and 1. You're inside the 20-yard line. Just imagine that first conversation, though, at home. Shiver to Ward. And it is Williams straight ahead. Over the 15, and the crowd chants Pooh Bear.
Well, they don't even get the bear out. It's just Pooh. Of course, imagine some young lady bringing a date home to meet mom and dad. And, well, what's his name? Pooh Bear. And they think of this nice, cuddly young man, and Clarence there is all 250 pounds of cuddly out of that fullback spot.
Gene Deckerhoff, who's the voice of Seminole football for many years, had a great call of his touchdown run against Duke last week. After he got into the clear and was 30 yards from the end zone, he just said, "Pooh Bear, Pooh Bear, Pooh Bear." Here's the throw into the end zone, touchdown. It's going to be to Nassam. Wayne Nassam with a touchdown, the 8th receiver to catch a ball from Charlie Ward today. It's a 12-yard touchdown.
This is domination with as capital of a D as you can put on there. Messam at the little slant look, caught Clemson in a zone with nobody underneath.
Bentley for the kick after, and it is good. A minute 29 left to go in the third period, and Florida State has tacked on another score. You know, they were ranked first before, Jack, and they said we considered it an honor. This year we consider it a challenge. Andre Humphrey getting set to receive the kickoff. Sunsplash day in Tallahassee, and Wayne Nassam is the receiver for the touchdown from Belgrade, Florida. He's a redshirt freshman. There's Bentley. Kick taken by Humphrey at the 5. Humphrey straight up the middle, and he stood up very quickly by Renard Wilson.
We still have a minute and 20 to go here in the third quarter, and that's just fine and dandy for the Seminole fans as they have thoroughly enjoyed this afternoon here. That large contingent dressed in orange on the far side of the field has had little to cheer about since, I think, the turning point of the game, the goal line stand.
Yes, very definitely. Clemson gets in there, makes it 23-7, and they've got enough wind in their sails to play this one out. It doesn't happen. Patrick Sapp is back under center again. Greg Hood and Mario Greer as setbacks. 1st and 10. It is incomplete, intended for Terry Smith. Colsey, James Colsey, the true freshman out of Miami, makes the play.
James Colsey is all 5'9", 153 pounds. Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator, said he just...
We have offsetting fouls, holding on the offense, offsides, defense. We offset the fouls, replay the down.
Had to let Courtney explain what the flag was for, but Mickey Andrews talking about Colsey said he's just a little itty-bitty guy, not much bigger than my wife. But he has some good bloodlines. His uncle Neil Colsey was an All-American at Ohio State and was a very fine defensive back for the Raiders in the National Football League.
So James Colsey comes from some pretty good bloodlines. 1:18 left to go here in the third quarter. 1st and 10 over again after the offsetting penalties. Sapp back to throw. Pass is complete. Terry Smith, and he's still on his feet at the 42-yard line. It's a gain of 21 yards for Clemson. And Enzo Armella comes back on pursuit to make the tackle. The sophomore tackle out of Miami. Time runs down here in the third quarter.
Terry Smith has certainly established himself as the big play man for Clemson again. A career high in reception yards today with 140 on the afternoon. And I mean, they're going to try and work that Sapp-Smith combination all year long.
1st and 10. Clemson at their own 42. Sapp sprints out. Almost tackled by Cowart, and is chased out of there by Derrick Alexander before he throws to Smith. Smith in Florida State territory, and he's marked out at the 36-yard line.
Going to be brought back, I think, good as Florida State has looked today, and they have looked very good. They know this is just game 2 of the conference schedule. Virginia looks like they're going to be strong again this year. Bill Lewis's Georgia Tech team feels that they're going to be rallying behind Donnie Davis. And of course, North Carolina next week will be a very large game for the Seminoles.
2nd down, 14 to go. Clemson back up their own 38. Here's Witherspoon on the draw going nowhere. Derrick Alexander on yet another stop this afternoon.
Well, if Charlie Ward is the offensive player of the game, very definitely number 90, Derrick Alexander, has been the defensive star among stars. They've had great play from Ken Alexander and from Derrick Brooks, but I think Derrick Alexander on the line of scrimmage has set the tempo defensively this afternoon.
Clemson trying to get off one more play, and it looks like they will not before the quarter comes to an end. As time runs out, the clock expires, and the third quarter comes to a close. Florida State tacks on 20 here in the third, and they lead after 3 complete. 43-0 over Clemson. Welcome back to Tallahassee for our Exxon ACC Game of the Week from Jefferson Pilot Sports. Steve Martin along with Jack Corrigan and Mike Hogwood. Florida State up by a big score as we take the turn into the fourth. 43-0. Charlie Ward has been nothing short of magnificent. He's 3 touchdown passes on the day. Patrick Sapp, his counterpart from Clemson, has had a fairly good day. He's throwing big this time, going for Terry Smith again. Smith had a little room for a score but couldn't get there, and covering on the play for Florida State is Harold Battles. The Lee Apparel game summary after 3 quarters. Well, it's been Charlie Ward this afternoon.
And garnet and gold, yes.
Exactly. 395 yards passing, all but 70 of that really in Charlie Ward's column. And look at the total yardage. Clemson, when did you see 200 yards in Clemson's pass column? But that rush column is what they'd like to see it in. Nelson Welch gets off a good one. McCorvey back, has it at the 19. McCorvey out over the out of the 20-yard line, out to the 30.
Going to have an illegal block called as well on Florida State.
That'll set them back further. Humphrey on the tackle. 14:43 left to go as McCorvey comes to the sideline. Clemson has an off week next week.
During the run back, they're blocking the back on the receiving team, 10 yards from the flag. First down.
So back it up inside the 15-yard line. And that's where Florida State will start, 1st and 10. Danny Cannell is on at quarterback now for FSU. We may have seen our last of Charlie Ward this afternoon. An outstanding performance by Ward. 1st and 10 from the 12 for the Seminoles. Marquette Smith and Clarence Williams in the backfield. The handoff to Pooh Bear, and he got it on his hip and finally pulled it in. Carlos Curry is going to bring him down. Not much gain at all. Charlie Ward, well-earned rest after a strong afternoon of work. 4 touchdown passes, 318 yards.
8 incompletions, and at least one of those was a drop.
2nd down and 9. Cannell with a play fake. The pass is complete to Cooper. Andre Cooper, true freshman out of Jacksonville.
Well, they have had 21 parade All-Americans here at Florida State in the Bobby Bowden era, and that young man who just caught that pass, part of that group. He is going to be a good one.
They've got a lot of freshmen, a lot of true freshmen who are just outstanding. Smith, who took a redshirt season in his sophomore year, gets tackled in the backfield by Derek Burnett. Marquette Smith thrown for a loss on the play of 4 yards. There's Danny Cannell. If any thought was ever given to redshirting him this year, the value of his services as a holder dispelled any notion. He's a sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, 6'4", 205. Second down. Here comes Smith. Marquette Smith gets it over the 25 to the 26. McCrory in on the tackle along with Andre Carter.
Way away from the football, a little extracurricular activity. Hiram Pringle hitting Danny Cannell. Yeah, that's a frustration foul, but it's a foul that you can't make, because instead of 3rd and long, it's 1st and 10.
The ball is moved out to the 30, actually the 40-yard line on a 15-yard penalty, tacked onto the gain of the play, which was about 5 yards. Messam is off to the wide side. Cooper to his outside shoulder. Out of the shotgun, Cannell on 1st and 10. Cannell steps up, fires, pass is complete. Looks like Sean Jackson pulled it down, but no, it's Omar Ellison.
First catch of the season for Omar Ellison, who has been supplanted on the depth chart by the good-looking freshman that Steve was alluding to, people like Messam and Cooper, and all of a sudden there wasn't a playing time for Ellison.
Ellison got some time last year when Fryer went out. And the handoff goes to Dunn. Warwick Dunn, another first down in Clemson territory at the 33. It's a gain of 13. Darnell Stevens on the tackle for Clemson.
He is only 5'9" and 165, but watch the instant acceleration through the hole. Look how little he gets to fight his way through. That spin move and the balance that the young man has. Well, I can see why offensive coordinator Brad Scott was so excited when he talked to me about this freshman.
He was a quarterback in high school, but rushed for 1,189 yards his senior season. And here he is again, turning the corner and getting knocked out of bounds at the 27-yard line. And it's going to be a gain on the play of about 6. Terrence Dixon comes up with a stop.
You talk about Florida State in the big battle here in the state of Florida to recruit with the Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes, and they more than hold their own. But I tell you what, lately they have gone out to Louisiana and come up with running backs. Sean Jackson's from New Orleans and Dunn is from Baton Rouge.
Second down and about 2. They gave him 8 on the play. Williams is in along with Marquette Smith, and Coubert is close to the first down inside the 25. Randolph and Brenson Buckner get him for the tackle. He's going to be short of about a half yard.
Steve mentioned it, Clemson is off next week, so they get a chance to not only rest up and prepare for Georgia Tech, but sort of reestablish their resolve for the season. As disappointing as this loss is, it is only one loss the farther you get away from it.
And off goes to Williams again, and Williams knocks down tacklers on his way. Andy McCrory finally makes the tackle. He's got the first down, and the chains will move to the 22-yard line.
6'1", 250-pound true freshman out of Crescent City, Florida. And he met Andy McCrory and said, "What do you think? Am I big enough for you?"
240 pounds. Many recruiting services called him the #1 quarterback or fullback in the country. There's the flare pass now on the screen to Marquette Smith. And Marquette is in there for a touchdown. Dawkins couldn't drive him out in time. Marquette Smith scores.
Out of Lake Howell High School here in Florida, he was the offensive player of the year in high school several years ago when he rushed for more than 88 yards and more than 88 touchdowns, excuse me, in his high school career. Shows you the balance, the elusiveness, stayed just inside the boundary. An extra point's going to make it 50-0. That's unbelievable.
And there's still 11 minutes left to go in this fourth quarter. There's the kick by Bentley. It is good. You are right, Jack. It is 50-0. The Seminoles on top of the Clemson Tigers in a convincing showing this afternoon. The home opener at Doak Campbell Stadium. But Bentley is brought on to add depth to the kicking core, and today Bentley's done a pretty good job. 47-yard field goal. Kick into the end zone to block a return, and then he saved a 2-point attempt by the defense after a blocked field goal.
Blocked extra point.
Blocked extra point. That's right. Mauru squibs it right into the end zone. Does his job to the 20-yard line on a touchback, and a flag is thrown in there just for good measure at the 15-yard line.
Take one more look at the touchdown. Danny Cannell on the screen pass to Marquette Smith. Got lots of people out in front of him, and then the good balance. The ability to shake the tackler and stay in bounds, see the end zone, and get there.
Despite the efforts of Dawkins and Darnell Stevens, Marquette Smith with the score. Florida State's had the ball 5 times in the second half. They scored 4 of those 5 times. They lead 50-0. We have a penalty against Florida State after the return.
Didn't score on their first possession of the second half, and the Florida State defense didn't allow that to be an incentive builder for Clemson.
Marcus Hinton split wide to the right. Terry Smith and Jason Davis left. Swing pass goes to Witherspoon, the best of the receiving backs for Clemson, and he is flattened by Sherman and Capers. That's Travis Sherman, the inside linebacker. And it's going to be a loss of a back 3 yards on the play, bringing up 2nd down and 13.
Clemson has had to start pretty much in their own territory most of the ball game. They had that one chance in the first half after the William Floyd fumble, but then the Florida State defense came right back and forced a turnover on an interception.
2nd down and long. Sapp throws again, almost intercepted right there with the play. Henry Crockett. Crockett couldn't get it.
Well, you're seeing end zone when a ball comes to you with nothing but green in front of you. And Crockett says, you know, I did all those linebacker drills and I caught them all in practice and before the game. Why couldn't I catch it now?
Just one to be. It's not your time yet. Playing at Florida State, likely that opportunity will come. 3rd down and 13. Clemson trailing by 50. Sapp rushes on. Clemson covers it. Pass complete to Terry Smith. And Smith has it out to the 47-yard line. Nice gain on the play. Good for the 1st down. 15 yards. They needed 13. Derrick Brooks on the tackle.
Sapp has done a good job so far, you see, in his young career at Clemson, avoiding the turnovers. Sometimes you get lucky as a quarterback and get a linebacker to drop a ball like happened on the earlier pass, but that's a good ratio of attempts to interceptions.
He's had a good afternoon in light of facing a very, very tough Florida State defense. A little sprint out, and he can't get the time. Sherman is there to stop him. That's Henry Crockett again. Henry Crockett on the tackle, and Renard Wilson is also there to set Sapp back for a loss from the 48 back to the 38-yard line.
Well, the ability to avoid the interception when everybody in the stadium knows you are throwing the football is even more difficult because you're going to get more pressure like he did there. So it's harder to sit in there and make a good throw, wait for the offense to unfold its play against the defense.
2nd down and 21. Sapp airs it out, intended for Marcus Hinton, but it was out of bounds. Bush, Devin Bush, sophomore from Miami, covering on the play. Hinton is a sophomore out of Powder Springs, Georgia.
Patrick will have no problems sleeping tonight. He may have some problems climbing out of bed real frisky tomorrow morning, because most of the time after he's let the ball go, somebody has said, how do you do?
Sapp will be taking it real easy. Film session tomorrow. Clemson on 3rd down conversions. They've been 3rd and long a lot, and this is their longest 3rd down conversion of the afternoon. times is a lot to go to third. Sapp, chased by Nance, gets out of it and is knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line. It's a gain of 10, but it's still 11 yards short of the first down. Clifton Abraham chased him out of bounds. Patrick Sapp chased out of the pocket, and Nelson Welch, who's now taking over as one of the busiest guys on board. He's been on and punted 5 straight times here in the second half. Now Florida State is not sending anybody back, with field position not in their favor. They're not going to return this one. Sapp marches it up, and he goes out of bounds at the 17-yard line. 8:47 left to go here in the fourth quarter of play. The Florida State defense holds once again. The score, Florida State 50, Clemson nothing. The Seminoles on offense when we come back. Florida State has 50 of that this afternoon as we get play underway again with Danny Cannell under center. Florida State at his own 16-yard line. Handoff goes to Warwick Dunn. Dunn looking for running room and finds none. Brenson Bunkner led the charge along with Hemphill and Cross. Let's go to the sidelines and Mike Hogwood. Not room for you. 8:11 left to go. That was clear.
It was also clear that was one of the best assignments that Mr. Hogwood has had all season long.
I don't want to hear him complain to us about not being in the booth again. Warwick Dunn brings the ball out to the 15-yard line. It'll be third down and about 12 now for Florida State. They are at risk of breaking a streak of 4 straight possessions with scores with 7:39 left to go. Cannell with Dunn back there with him. New back, and that's going to be Clyde Allen. And a flag on the play as Allen got out to the 20. A couple of flags on the play, as a matter of fact, at the 19-yard line. So Clyde Allen gets out there but doesn't have enough for the first down. It's been a tough afternoon for the Clemson Tigers, but they have to put this behind them.
Holding on the offense. Penalty is declined. Fourth down.
So Sean Liss will come back onto the field for only the second time today, the redshirt freshman from St. Petersburg, Florida, as the Seminoles get set to punt. Clemson, like Florida State, will get a week off before facing Georgia Tech. I'm sure Bill Lewis is not happy about that process.
He's wondering how that worked out. They're just opening their season today against Furman.
Clemson faked the block, set up the return, and Liss accommodated them with a weak kick. It goes out of bounds at the Florida State 40-yard line. So Clemson will get good field position.
Still have a couple of the starters dotted in there amongst the Florida State defenders right now because, you know, in the back of their minds, Steve, they want to preserve this shutout. We talked at the outset of our broadcast this afternoon what a
down passes, and of course Terry Smith for Clemson, as you saw, an outstanding day. Going straight ahead for Clemson down to the 19-yard line. That's going to be Mac Knight on the tackle, but the carry was Mario Greer out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a sophomore.
They got that run. There you see one of the co-players, Terry Smith, with a career day for the young man from Clemson. And he is on his way towards having his best season yet in a Clemson uniform. Most of the first-team defense has come back out on the field for Florida State.
Now that Clemson's inside the 20, Louis Solomon at quarterback. Greer and Hood his setbacks. A lot of clean jerseys out there for Clemson. Dropped football, picked up by Derrick Brooks, and he's on his way.
Forget it.
Derrick Brooks will not be caught. Derrick Brooks, a flag downfield at the 41-yard line, will negate likely an 89-yard return.
Well, that's really a dumb penalty because there was nobody in this stadium that was going to catch Derrick Brooks. And there was no reason for one of his teammates to even attempt a block.
Have an illegal block in the back against the offensive team. Penalty is refused.
Oh.
Be a touchdown.
Touchdown,
Wow.
Derrick Brooks. I'll change the yardage on that to 78. 78 yards after Hood fumbled. Brooks picked it up and trotted to the end zone.
Darren Marion was the guy who forced the fumble, and Derrick Brooks with his 4.4 speed was not going to be caught by anybody. Derrick Brooks, second straight week with a defensive touchdown, had an interception for a score last week.
Dan Mowry on for the kick after. Cannell to hold. The kick is up, and it is good. Derrick Brooks, as Jack told you, second time in a week to score a touchdown, an interception return once. This time, a fumble recovery return of 78 yards for a touchdown, and Florida State didn't expect this. We saw these two teams set to collide. Dan Mowry with the kick. He drives Humphrey to the lip of the end zone. Humphrey comes out, and he is flattened short of the 20-yard line, so down at the 19. Being number one is a challenge, Florida State says, not an honor, and it's a challenge that needs to be met each and every week. For the first 3 hurdles this season, they have met it and then some.
Well, I would be surprised after this victory if they are not a unanimous number one choice. They certainly, in my opinion, deserve it.
Attacking another one on the wall this afternoon. Here's Louis Solomon on the option. Can't get out of Wilson's grasp, and looked like he wanted to get rid of it again before McIntosh shut it down. A loss of another yard on the play. Eric Smith.
I think, excuse me, Steve, I think he realized if I do try and pitch this, there's a lot more guys in dark colored jerseys than there are in white ones. I better hang on to it.
He's down at his own 19-yard line. So Florida State takes what they've earned here today, and they go on the road for a key game in Chapel Hill next week, next Saturday night against North Carolina. The Tar Heels were winning this afternoon against Maryland by 14 at last look. Pass to the flats by Solomon to Jason Davis is complete to the 23-yard line for 4. So number one, Florida State is winning big this afternoon. Number 2, Alabama was winning over Vanderbilt when we last looked. Michigan, number 3, was losing this afternoon to Notre Dame. There's the Jefferson Pilot scoreline is there at your fingertips anytime you want to score.
So the Alabama game now a final, and Michigan still trailing by 10. There's the Carolina lead. Lots of points for the Tar Heels this year.
Well, you have to play against Maryland. Solomon back the other way. He's got himself a first down. Comes out of 3rd and 7. Capers on the tackle. 1st and 10. Solomon goes straight ahead to Milt Shaw, redshirt freshman out of Tarboro, North Carolina. Reinhard Wilson is in on the tackle for Florida State. 4:20 left to go in this football game. Florida State has done it from every avenue possible. They've done it with their offense, but their defense has also responded. Defense with a block punt recovered for a touchdown by Clifton Abraham, and of course a fumble that was recovered and returned by Derrick Brooks. As you look at Danny Cannell on the sideline, everybody having a good time here this afternoon. Here's Solomon to Hood on the pitch. Hood's got some speed and gets up over midfield, but there's a flag well back. Samuel Coward is in on the tackle, but this play may be coming back.
Holding on the offense. 10 yards, spotted the foul. Still second down.
Still 3:46 left to play as Hood comes back with the huddle.
Well, the goal line stand, as we said, probably the big turning point of the ball game when Clemson had a chance to get back into it. 1st and goal inside the 5. The only thing you can say right now, perhaps the best way to put some pressure on Florida State is to score first, but that's going to be very hard to do. One, because they are so efficient offensively, and secondly, they've played so dadgum well on defense. You'd like to get any points. Only 7 points on the year.
As far as Clemson is concerned, they'd like to have moved the ball on the ground, and they could not this afternoon. He'll be under 50 in rushing maybe when it's all told, or around 50.
Interesting challenge for that Duke defense to deal with the wishbone.
Very efficiently run by Army. 3rd down and 22. Ball back on the 25-yard line. Sullivan back to throw. Trailing by a big score. He's trying for Hinton, but it won't work. Incomplete at the 35-yard line.
Of course, that one loss last year to Miami.
One other streak that stays alive today. Florida State unbeaten since in the conference, since entering the conference. Kaz McCorvey gets this punt of Nelson Welch back to the 36-yard line. Danny Cannell back on the field. Marquette Smith is back there with him. A fumbled snap covered up there by Cannell just in back of the line of scrimmage to the 36-yard line. The crowd loving it, and a lot of them are staying on here to see it to the very finish with 2:43 left to go and the clock moving. Florida State leading 57-0. Steve Martin, Jack Horgan, and Mike Hogwood pleased to have brought you this ball game this afternoon, and we hope you'll join us each and every week for ACC football from Jefferson Pilot. Cannell under center again, 2nd and 10. The pitch to Marquette Smith, and Smith gets some yardage. Ridgely brought him down at the 40-yard line. That's Thad Ridgely. Bobby Bowden, we showed you his success as a coach as far as wins are concerned. 18th year at Florida State, 14 bowl appearances, 11 straight, unbeaten in 11 straight. Kenny Hatfield suffering through a tough season. Clemson's first losing season in a while last year at 5-6. But he's got solid credentials, and this is a team that I think will come back. Cannell to Marquette Smith. Smith picks his way to midfield. It's a good 10-yard gain. It's good enough for the first down. Lewis Usher in on the tackle for Clemson. 19-0 they were shut out by Clemson on that particular day, or rather by Maryland on that day. There's Dunn for its sophisticated pass offenses, but when you look at the backs that they have recruited here, and Dunn has showed us a lot today, Williams as well, to go with Sean Jackson. This is a frightening total package. The reverse to Dunn. Dunn driven out of bounds by Ford. Peter Ford drives him out at about the 25-yard line. It'll be a gain of 19 on the reverse.
Well, it's a frightening total offense accumulation for Florida State. I mean, we're talking, what, close to 700 yards, more than 600 yards on the day.
And you know, this is a team working without Tiger McMillan in the backfield and 2 great defensive players, Steve Gilmer and Corey Fuller. Clarence Poubert-Williams straight ahead to the 20. 29 seconds left to go, the final minute of play, and neither team making an attempt to stop the clock. As the fans will relish this one as they finally head to the exits here at Bill Campbell Stadium. The final 17 seconds tick away. The play clock shrivels to nothing, and time runs out. Time is about to run out as Florida State upholds and then some its #1 ranking. They beat the Clemson Tigers by a score of 57-0.